The history of humanity begins approximately 300,000 years ago in the African continent, particularly in East Africa, with the emergence of the first Homo sapiens species. These early humans did not live in cities like modern people. Instead, they survived as small groups of hunter-gatherers within nature. They generally lived in savannas, forest edges, and near water sources because water and wild animals were essential for survival. They had no permanent homes and usually lived in caves, under trees, or in simple shelters made from animal skins. Life during this period was extremely difficult. Humans had to find food every single day. They used tools such as spears, stone knives, and sharpened sticks for hunting. Gathering was also very important. Fruits, roots, tubers, and edible plants were collected from nature. Hunger was a constant threat because if a group failed to hunt, everyone was at risk. Wild animals, climate changes, and injuries made survival even harder. There were no modern clothes. People used animal skins, processing them and wrapping them around their bodies to protect themselves from the cold. Instead of needles, they used bone fragments and plant fibers to stitch simple garments together. There were no shoes either. Most people walked barefoot. The discovery of fire became a major turning point because it provided warmth, allowed food to be cooked, and offered protection from wild animals. Over time, due to climate changes and the search for resources, these early human groups began migrating out of Africa. Around 70,000 years ago, during a major migration known as the Out of Africa movement, humans reached the Middle East. From there, they spread into Europe, Asia, and later Australia. During this migration, humans had to adapt to new environments. They used thicker animal skins in colder regions, developed new hunting techniques, and created improved tools. Humans who arrived in Europe encountered Neanderthals. For a period, they lived in the same regions and even interbred in some areas. Groups that moved into Asia adapted to different climates and successfully survived. Migration to the Americas occurred much later during the Ice Age via the Bering Land Bridge. Around 12,000 years ago, a major transformation occurred: the discovery of agriculture. Humans became producers instead of just hunter-gatherers. Crops such as wheat, barley, and rice began to be cultivated intentionally, and animals were domesticated. This led to the abandonment of nomadic life and the rise of settled communities. People began building villages near rivers and fertile lands. Regions such as Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley, the Indus Valley, and China became the first major centers of civilization. With settled life, villages grew into cities. People built houses, trade began, and writing was invented. Societies became divided into classes. Farmers, craftsmen, merchants, and rulers emerged. Not everyone did the same job anymore, and society became more complex. However, challenges remained. Diseases spread, wars began, and competition for water resources increased. As time progressed, these small city-states developed into powerful civilizations. The Sumerians, Egyptians, Chinese dynasties, and Indian civilizations built strong structures. People constructed pyramids, temples, and large cities. However, these projects required enormous labor, and most of the population worked under heavy taxation and strict systems. In later periods, great empires such as the Persians, Greeks, and Romans emerged. Humanity entered a world where war, philosophy, science, and politics were deeply interconnected. Rome built roads, the Greeks developed systems of thought, and the Persians created vast administrative networks. Despite all progress, wars and power struggles never ceased. During the Middle Ages, Europe developed a feudal system where people lived under lords and worked in harsh conditions in villages. Cities grew slowly, and pandemics such as the Black Death killed millions. Meanwhile, the Islamic world experienced a golden age of science and culture, and powerful empires rose in China. In India as well, dynasties expanded while facing internal conflicts. Later, with the Renaissance, humanity began to think, explore, and learn again. The scientific revolution changed the understanding of the natural world. The age of exploration connected continents, but also led to colonization and the destruction of indigenous populations. The Industrial Revolution mechanized production, expanded cities, and created new social classes, but also introduced harsh working conditions for laborers. In the 20th century, the world experienced two devastating world wars that caused millions of deaths. Afterward, the technological era began. Computers, the internet, and space exploration transformed human civilization. Humanity reached space and became globally interconnected. Today, humans live in a digitally connected global civilization. From small groups struggling to survive in African savannas to modern societies launching rockets into space, humanity's journey has been one of constant change, struggle, and development across hundreds of thousands of years.